Today, we're going to talk about what Christian used to do when he was a new service manager. It might not surprise you, or it might. Time management, and there's some very interesting things in the news, hit pieces, it gets political for a second. So that and much, much more coming up on this edition of Service Drive Revolution. Sean, what would you say is the thing that's plaguing the automotive industry more than anything else? Like, what's the biggest problem that needs to be solved?
I know this answer. I know this answer for sure. An overabundance of clinker tile in dealerships.
Well, that's really random and specific to BMW.
Yeah, okay. If it's not that, which I think it probably is, the technician shortage.
Yes. And so we know this. We launched a new version of our How to Hire Technicians training where we were going to assign a coach to everybody. And so you get a coach, a one-on-one coach to help you recruit techs, help you with your ads, the interviewing, whatever it is you're ailing and is keeping you from hiring techs. And then we're going to do every other week, we're going to have a live.
Yeah, it's like a Zoom thing. There will be Q&A, there will be lessons, but I like to call that a master's class.
Yeah, so every other week we'll have a master's class in Christian's office that is designed to be like the inside of a Tetris game.
Yes.
And then they get all our online training, right?
All the online training. The Tech Tree is a really, really good training platform.
What we're thinking about doing is including the every other week masterclass and the Q&A with our on-demand, because we're selling out of the other one pretty quick.
Yeah, so we only have so much capacity for coaches to just
that
coach
went
on the
really
hiring.
quick, which is a indicator that people need help hiring techs, that it is selling that quick, correct?
Yeah, that's a really good sign.
And so if you're listening to this, you might still have an opportunity, but it also, when you look up Chris Collins Technician Tree and find that URL, or you can DM us on Facebook, there's a pretty good chance by the time you hear this, you won't be able to get a personal coach, but you can get on the calls, which you'll still be light years ahead of everybody else. But we're really good at hiring techs, and we want to share that with everybody. We do this math. We've made the hiring of technicians for our clients a part of our internal competition.
Yeah, so that's a big
it's
thing.
anywhere between 60 and 80 on a given month that we are involved in the hiring of techs, right?
Yep, for sure. I was just at a meeting yesterday, and it was between 3 or 4 dealerships was 10. And these guys have been on the program for a while, and they still hired 10 techs in the last 30 days. So it's pretty fun to watch.
So if you're struggling with that, or you're about to, reach out, let us help you with that. Get in on that, because we're going to start those in a week, the live ones, and you want to be in it from the beginning. The other thing that I would say about that is I often am presented with the question about shop culture.
Oh, okay.
I've never fixed the culture in a shop without bringing in some new faces and new energy.
Yeah, you got to tip the scales first, right?
What happens most of the time is the good techs, or the ones with a positive attitude, have left. The miserable ones are still there, and they're what you're grading your culture on, not understanding that what you need to do is get good at hiring techs, because if the negative ones are the majority, you're going to have a really hard time. Like, you go into these shops and the techs don't want to do warranty work, and like there's all these weird
Yeah, there's the
narratives
rules. Yeah.
that you're like, oh wow, how are you guys functioning with all this? And they're like, yeah, it's terrible. And you're like, did you ever think about hiring more techs? Oh, you can't hire techs. Like, yeah, well, if you say you can't, you can't. But
Yeah, there's no doubt that's the way to guarantee you won't hire techs, is to say that you can't.
so I'm excited about this time management topic. Let's do the news, and then let's talk about time management. You had some fun notes about it, and I've actually been talking about this time management thing a lot lately. So I think it'll be fun to share.
Yeah, it's good to I think it's good to reflect on the time management thing. I think anytime you stop and look at what you're doing in a day, there's no level that time management's not important for. From an advisor, technician, parts person, service manager, general manager, time management's huge. So no one has to feel like they're on an island. And speaking of islands, there were these 3 guys.
That whole thing was a build-up to a segue?
Yes, sir. That's dedication to the craft. So 3 guys, they're stuck on an island together. But the good news is that they found a magic lamp. And the magic lamp awarded each of the 3 guys a wish. So the first guy goes up and he rubs the magic lamp and he's like, I wish I were home right now. Disappears, goes out in the middle of nowhere. Second guy goes up, he's like, well, that worked really well. I wish I was home too. He disappears. Third guy's left, looks around. He's like, man, I'm so lonely. I wish my friends were here.
Okay, what's in the news?
Let's talk about news. Today is like, we'll call this scandal news almost. So the first I'm going to open up with Michigan Carvana store agrees to surrender dealer license. They can still sell cars online though. So they have to surrender their license in lieu of state regulators taking further administrative action. They can keep delivering vehicles purchased through their website, but they can't sell at the site. So it's in Novi, which is a suburb of Detroit. But essentially, it's a plea deal that Carvana said, okay, we'll revoke our license, we'll give our license back, and yeah, so they're in trouble. The hits keep coming for poor Carvana. Chris had suggested a solution to that, but yeah, they're hurting for sure.
So in Michigan, there's a separate license to sell online than in person?
Must be. Well, I think that online sales is a backdoor thing for a lot of dealership stuff. So it's pretty fascinating as far as that goes. But Carvana
in the news,
taking the hits. Then this one surprised me a little bit. So there's new information resurfaced or surfaced, if you want to say that Tesla video promoting self-driving was staged. It was fake. Fake news. So there was a video that is still on Tesla's website right now in 2016, was showing that the car was driving itself. Turns out that was fake. That was Hollywood. And it's pretty funny that they didn't have the technology to let it drive itself, so they faked it. So that's essentially, at the end of the day, there was a lawsuit because there was a fatal crash, and then they kind of came up with the whole story that the 2016
What is the publication of this?
One very recently.
No, the news source.
This is Auto News, and yesterday, 20 hours ago.
So it's automotive news or auto news?
Auto News.
Yeah. So have you noticed that there is a plethora of negative Elon Musk news everywhere?
Would you call it a smear campaign?
It is nuts. It is so crazy that as soon as he started releasing the inside stuff on Twitter about how the government was meddling in things and the Biden stuff and all that, how much negative news is out there that almost isn't even, like, when you read those articles, they're not even really conclusive. They're just dog whistles and headlines. Have you noticed that?
So I do know that when we go through this and we talk about the news that we're going to do for these episodes, I bet 30% is negative about Tesla. So yeah, it's definitely upticked a little bit.
So Soros and his clowns they're shining their media light on him. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's crazy the power that's involved in that. That's for sure.
Have you watched the Joe Rogan one? Who is he talking to about this? Oh, I think it's the guy from Barstool Sports.
Okay.
And he talks about when he had COVID and all of the negative stuff about him and how basically there's just a machine that's turned on and they try to basically just obliterate you everywhere.
Yeah, that's
It
crazy.
feels like that's what's happening to Elon right now is they're strategically they're crafting and releasing negative stories about him with little substance just to flood the news feeds with negativity.
Yeah, it's like a political campaign, but in the business world.
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
But it is political because he's going after politicians.
It's fair.
And what is the one thing that the politicians don't want?
They don't want bad press.
They don't want to lose power.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because that sounds like a fake story to me.
Yeah, it was, the video was 6 years old.
You know why it sounds like a fake story? Because maybe a little more than 6 years ago, we went with the elite group to the Tesla factory and they drove us around with driverless technology and it was mind-blowing.
Oh, that's
There was
interesting.
nothing fake about it. Everybody in the elite group went. They put us in Teslas. They got on the freeway. They went down a couple miles, came back, got off, and nobody ever touched a steering wheel.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It even merged.
That was right around that time, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's not, it existed. Like, I don't understand what they are saying by it was filmed Hollywood style, but that is pretty loose. I don't know. When you said the date and you said that, I was like, no, we experienced that and it was real.
Oh, that's funny.
You weren't on that trip, right?
Nope.
No, it's fascinating.
Yeah. I know people that did go and they said it was pretty cool.
They're after Elon Musk.
Yeah, there's no doubt about
We
that.
got to try to support him. If anything, I want free press.
Fair enough.
I feel like social media is way too powerful not to be to have a bias,
Okay. That makes sense to me.
and the bias is very left. I think it should be fair both ways.
Okay.
Do you not agree?
No, I think that there's probably not enough of us using the platform to even out the scales a little bit. At least asking questions.
Time management.
Good topic.
Okay, so in your segue into a joke, you were saying how important time management is as a subject.
That's right.
I don't agree with that.
Why?
You tell me why I don't agree with that. Let's do a little guided discovery.
Because you think that time management is a symptom, not a cause.
Yeah. So time management, exactly, is the outcome of not being committed to what it is you say you want to do. Right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So what would be an example of something extreme? Like if you're, one of your jokes, right? You're like, so I was walking to work today and I came up on this homeless guy and he pulled a knife and he started chasing me.
Yeah.
Now in that moment, do you need time management?
No, you just need strong legs.
Yeah, but you know what you're going to do.
That's right.
You're going to try to get away
Yeah, for sure.
or disarm him or something. But whatever it is you're going to do, you're going to decide very quickly and you're going to do it. Win or lose, you've chosen a path.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to procrastinate?
No chance of that.
Right. And so then the idea of it being an overwhelming desire, right? If you're really hungry, you don't need time management to get food. Now, you might make bad food choices,
Guilty.
but that also is just because you want it now. And so you're not willing to wait for something healthier. But do you need time management?
Not for that, no.
Okay. So, in a sense, if you woke up every day and you were really committed to a certain outcome or specific outcome, and there were 2 or 3 things that you could do to get you closer to that, wouldn't you do those 2 or 3 things?
Yeah, there's definitely a commitment level. And I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head that time management is stacking the deck.
And then the other thing is it's an outcome of something else.
Okay, so I'm going to take a guess.
So the first one is it's an outcome of lack of true commitment to what it is you want to do, what your goal is, right?
So if I had to guess, I would say from your angle, the second thing would be self-esteem.
Poor leadership. So take, for example, somebody who is a manager but not a leader, and their people are dumping upset customers on them all day. Now, is that time management? Like, if you get better at handling upset customers for everybody else, does that problem get better or worse?
Oh, it gets way worse because they have to do less.
But we're going to work on time management in order to get better at it.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So the fix is to be a better leader, hire people, train people, get people to be accountable so the upset customers aren't flooding your voicemail.
Yeah.
Right? If you come back from lunch and you got 5 upset customers in your voicemail, do you need to get better at that time management, or do you need to fix the cause?
You need to get to 0 voicemails.
Right.
Of
And
course.
so then I think probably the thing that you were thinking is self-esteem is oftentimes that's the self-esteem of your value of time.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that there's a thing about delegation in there. And I think that that's kind of a nasty trick for a new leader specifically, because you kind of have to learn. Like there's that thought internally, or at least maybe I had this as a new leader, was that if I asked somebody to do something, that I was being lazy by not doing it myself. But at the end of the day, it was way more about the fact that if I have these people employed to do this job, I can do my job. But when I'm not asking them to do it, then I'm doing their job and my job. And neither really well was what I found out.
Yeah. The analogy I've been giving lately, which I think really works, is you know Matt, right?
I
My
do.
boxing trainer.
Love him.
He talked at Top Dog 2 years ago,
He did.
and he came and hung out at Top Dog. I was also wondering, on a side note, do you think that when we have boot camps and we have dinner with our clients that come, do you think it would be fun to have like Matt and that group of characters at those?
Yeah, because we're not necessarily super characters like that. They just bring a cool energy to the party. I think it'd be fun for them to see what Matt's like.
Well, I was thinking Matt and a couple other people, like, yeah. But Matt is single. Have you ever seen Matt with a girlfriend?
Never with a girlfriend. I've seen him with women, but never with a girlfriend.
Yeah, he's had dates before,
Yes.
but it never works out, right?
Never. Not even close.
In fact, one time not that long ago, he had 2 dates in the same night. Remember that?
Oh, that's right.
One left and then another one showed up.
Yeah, great
It was
time.
interesting. But he has not had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Correct, right? Okay, so then I met somebody that I thought might be interesting for him to ask out. I'd actually talked to her about this. Like, I had already kind of broached the subject of, oh, you're single, I know a guy, he's a great guy. Like, I'm selling him, right? Like, he's a great guy. So then I tell him, hey, I have this opportunity for you that you could ask her out, maybe meet for coffee and see if there's something going on. And he deadpan says, nope, I don't, he said, this is how he worded it. From November to February 15th is a no-fly zone.
Yeah, and then it all made sense to you, didn't it?
Well, so the no-fly zone means that he doesn't date because he doesn't want to buy a Christmas gift and he doesn't want to buy a Valentine's gift, and maybe he doesn't want to go for Thanksgiving to meet their family or whatever.
I bet you're right.
So now here's a guy that always complains about being single, wants a girlfriend, and then when you go to set him up with somebody, he has all these weird rules that keep him from doing. So now we're treating the symptom, not the cause.
Yeah.
And maybe the cause is he actually really doesn't want a girlfriend.
Which is totally okay if that's the case.
Right.
But when you hear him talk, it seems like he wants one.
But that's how most people walk through life, is like, no, I have a goal, I want to buy a house, or I have a goal, I want to do this. But then all of their actions would tell you that that goal doesn't exist. All of his actions are telling you that he doesn't really. And so that incongruency, I think at the top of it is the cause of time management issues, not actually time management, because you only have so much time.
That's right.
And also, if you're better at managing time, there's that saying, you can't grow a tree in a room full of stuff. You actually don't want to stack your time so you're busy constantly back to back to back to back, because you have no room to get the things that are going to get you ahead done.
And no ideas, no creativity. The whole thing shuts itself in on you.
And
right?
you're making more impulsive decisions. You're reacting to stuff, right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
So I think in a sense, whenever somebody says time management, what I hear is, I don't have priorities.
Or if you do, they're loose priorities where somebody can sneak in front. I think that the best people that are best at time management are rigid about their calendar.
There's an analogy in Franklin Covey.
Covey?
He has a book
favorite?
on time management that I've read, and there's an analogy in there of a vase. And he says, if you need to put these rocks and this sand in the vase, if you put the sand in first, the rocks don't fit.
Yeah.
But if you put in the rocks first and pour the sand over the top, then it fits. And basically what he's saying, or my interpretation of that is, if you do the big things that are going to get you to where you need to go first, then the sand kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah.
It's funny how many little things go away if you focus on the big things.
That's right. And I think you recognize that you can't do everything all on your own. And the thing that I think time management for me is best explained when I look at like NFL head coaches, right? So you think about an NFL head coach, and during the game, like I think a lot of service managers do this, where if they were the NFL head coach, they would call the offensive plays, they'd call all the defensive plays, they'd make sure that nobody was hurt, they'd be, working the special teams. But the truth is that the best NFL coaches, the head coaches, they don't do anything during the game other than they're kind of just monitoring from afar. But who calls the main plays in the games, right? The coordinators. In some cases, the quarterbacks that are 45 years old. But I think that...
Are you saying that Tom Brady calls his own plays?
If I had to guess, I would say yes. I think he calls his own plays.
I don't think he does.
Okay. I respect that. I think he might, but...
I think one of the last quarterbacks to call their own plays is Peyton Manning.
Oh, he'd love to call the audible.
Pretty sure Tom doesn't call his own plays because he argued last year with Leftwich a couple times on the play calling.
Yeah.
You could see it.
Okay.
Now he might audible out of everything.
Yeah.
Or
I think that there's
there might be one thing in the ear and he says another thing.
I could totally see that. But when it comes to the head coach's job and their effectiveness, it's all in the prep, right? So when you think about like high level activities for a NFL head coach, what do you think those are?
For an NFL coach?
Yep.
High level activities?
Yeah.
Getting the right players.
Personnel, I think, is number one.
And then the culture and the belief that they can win, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not just because I'm a Seahawks fan, but the Seahawks did play above their weight limit because of the culture there, not necessarily the talent.
That's right. And I think that that's the great thing. And it supports something that we say all the time, is that if you have a strong leader and a great system, you don't have to have the best players to get a really good outcome. So that's why I always kind of think about that. And then the other thing, and then I'm done with sports analogies, is you know how for a long, long time they had player managers in baseball, right? Like Pete Rose is probably the last person that you can think of that was a player manager. But since 1950, how many player managers do you think have won the World Series?
Zero.
Absolutely zero. Because
There's been player managers in basketball too, I think.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Even
Yeah, you're right.
Jordan did that.
I don't know that Jordan ever coached himself.
The Wizards?
I didn't think he was the coach. I thought Doug
he
Collins was the coach for a long time, but maybe he was.
The Wizards.
Yeah, the Washington Wizards. Collins went back and coached the Wizards when Jordan went there.
You don't win a championship being a player coach.
It's just not possible to do both roles. So that's a really good example, or maybe a good thing for like our service managers out there. Like if you're managing the department, if you're dispatching, if you're the warranty administrator, if you're the service advisor, if you're the shuttle driver, your leadership skills are probably lacking, would be my guess. So just kind of think of that is that, and I think I've shared this before, that as a manager, I connected my identity when I first started out with all the tasks. I don't know if you remember that, but like I was always happy. Like I was the guy they called when the alarm went off, and I was the snowplow guy, which is always a funny story to tell. But
I remember more sitting in your office when you were a manager and you saying inappropriate things. That's mostly what I remember. I don't remember anything about tasks.
Good thing that hasn't changed much. That's funny.
That's what I remember.
Yeah. I had my eagle
That little office on the end, the little glass box.
I love that. You know what's funny is it started out that I was in the manager's office was a fishbowl right by the waiting room, but I loved sitting at that office right on the drive.
Okay, let's recap.
Yep.
We launched a coaching element for you to help you find and recruit technicians, how to build a culture, how to grow your own techs. We are very close to being sold out on that. DM us on Facebook or LinkedIn if you want more information on that. My point of view on time management is that it's a symptom to a bigger problem, and that's that you don't really have clear goals, or if you do, you're not committed to them. It's a lack of leadership because other people are throwing things at you and you're doing their work for them, right? So it's poor leadership, and it's value of your time more than anything else. So when we talk about time management, I would focus on those things versus getting better at doing more stuff, because you can't grow a tree in a room full of junk. The more stuff you do, the less efficient and effective you get. There's that saying, slow is fast.
Good stuff.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on Service Drive Revolution. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.